Hi, my name's Bill Harper. I'm a customer success engineer that works on Splunk AppDynamics. Today, we're going to do an introduction to backends within AppDynamics. Here's the agenda that we're going to run through. What is a backend? What types of backends are out there? Auto-detected backends. So our Java and .NET agent can actually auto-detect backends. Then we'll jump into a demo. What is a backend in AppDynamics? A backend is a component that is not instrumented by the AppDynamics agent, but it can participate in the processing of a business transaction. The agent recognizes the calls, we call them exit calls, to these backend services from the APM agent and can provide round-trip metrics as well as represent the backend in a flow map. On the right-hand side, there is an example of the backends represented in the flow map. You can see I've highlighted them there. If the backend service is not instrumented, the agent determines this and it marks the service as a backend component. The agent picks up the transaction context at the response from the backend and continues to follow the context of the transaction from there. Types of backends we support. Remote service is a backend that resides outside of the application service and provides a service to the application. An example of a remote service would be an API for a web service, a message queue, a caching server. A database backend is the next type of backend that we support. It's a category that encompasses various relational database types, SQL and others, and is a very common backend type. Any detected out-of-process component involved in a business transaction processing, the agent can report round-trip metrics and will mark it as a backend. The Java agent can automatically detect the following backends. You can see the list scrolling there: Amazon Web Services, Cassandra CQL, Couchbase, HTTP, JDBC, Kafka, MongoDB, RMI, just to name a few. The .NET agent can automatically detect the following backends: Azure Service Framework, HTTP, JMS, WCF, web service, just to name a few. And that's it for the overview. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump into a demo. Here we are in AppDynamics controller, and we're looking at a flow map of a particular application called AD Financial Next. And what we're going to do is point out in here some of the backends that we see on the flow map here. We see one here at the top. This is an HTTP or an API backend, and you can see basically 39 calls. You can see the round trip time. If we click on it, we'll get the same information, but in a little box. Here's one that's a message queue. We can go ahead and click on this one. We can see how many calls were made per minute, how many total calls were made. This is another message queue, very similar information. I'm going to go ahead and click on one of the database backends as well. And this database backend, as well as the other backend, has database visibility installed on the database side. So we're getting a little bit more information here, and we can actually click on that view in database visibility, which we're not going to do during this demo, and actually go into the database monitoring solution that AppDynamics has to dig down into the details of what's going on with the database. That's pretty much it for what I wanted to cover today, and I want to thank you for attending the demo. Take care.